Is Jonah Lanto. I like to be able to host these little sit-down chats every once in a while when I get a chance. And what's our mission here at Startup Minot? What are we really doing? We're helping entrepreneurs tell their stories, of course, but we're also trying to invigorate and encourage others to find ways to execute their idea. We want people in Minot and the surrounding region to know that if they have a novel business idea, if they're an entrepreneur, there's education, there are support agencies. We want to connect people to resources, help them find referrals. We want to communicate success stories. This is an entrepreneurial ecosystem that we're building. So the community effort is broad that assists in this monthly Startup Minot. We hold these networking events with amazing guest speakers so that we can all learn from other entrepreneurs, their success stories, their hardships, how they overcame certain things, where they found their inspiration from. What it takes to be a business owner. There's so much to it. So that's a key part of what we're doing here today. So your goal might be to meet someone new, consider something new, go outside your comfort zone, test your assumptions about your business or your current plan. Or maybe even to take one step forward toward opening your own business, as we'll hear our guest today did at one point in their life. Of course, many partners make Startup Minot happen. We couldn't do it without them. That's the North Dakota Small Business Development Centers, Souris Basin Planning Council, Credence Energy, Minot Area Chamber EDC, as well as Dakota Business Lending and support from those in the private sector. And a big thanks to our sponsors, First Western Bank and Trust, that's our presenting sponsor, the Minot Area Chamber EDC, North Dakota Small Business Development Centers, Bank of North Dakota, Brevera Town and Country Credit Union, First International Bank and Trust, Cornerstone, Credence Energy, People's State Bank, and Dakota Business Lending. And yeah, that's a lot of banks that support this thing because people in business usually need money at some point. So it's great to have banks backing something that is here to support entrepreneurs. Most of us at some point got a chat with the bank about our business idea, so it's great to have them here supporting us at Startup. So we're super excited about our guest this morning. This is a downtown entrepreneur, Melissa Wright. Let's give a warm Startup Minot welcome to the owner of Arny's 2.0. Now let's get to know Melissa just a little bit before we start our conversation. Melissa is an entrepreneur, a community advocate, and the owner of Arny's 2.0 in Minot since 2017. With 19 years spent in Southeast Asia, Melissa brings global perspective into her work, transforming Arny's 2.0 from the diviest bar in town, truly the diviest bar in town, into a welcoming hometown staple. I mean, no kidding. I saw my first street fight in the Arny's parking lot when I was like 10 years old. So different business than what Melissa is running at this point in time. So she now plans to expand her business footprint into a mixed-use building on the same block as Arny's 2.0 and will feature an event center, catering, and Airbnb rentals, creating spaces where people can connect, unwind, and celebrate. Melissa, 19 years in Southeast Asia. It sounds like you and I could have a whole conversation about that. Mm-hmm. Tell us about that in 30 seconds, and then what brought you to Minot to start Arny's?
30 seconds, okay. Southeast Asia, I worked with the church and actually smuggled Bibles into China and Vietnam, and worked in Cambodia, Vietnam, Bangladesh, Myanmar, and of course China.
You were a Bible smuggler?
Yes.
Okay, Han Solo.
So, yeah, I worked out of Hong Kong and worked into different countries, and then in 1998, that's a long time ago, I moved into Malaysia and worked from Malaysia.
Now, were you originally from this Minot area?
No, I'm from South Carolina.
Oh, right. So how does, from South Carolina to Asia, how do you land in North Dakota, Minot of all places?
I'm still questioning myself on that one.
still trying to find the answer to that one.
How the heck did that happen? No, I just...
you must have been excited for winter.
Oh, I was ecstatic. No, I came here just for business. I saw a lot of business opportunities. So,
at what point did you arrive?
2012.
Okay.
So I've been here a little
while. So you were
while.
kind of following national news.
Not really. I'm not that smart.
Well, I see, because that was during the oil boom.
It was actually at the end of the oil boom.
It was putting Minot kind of on the radar because of that.
And the flood, of course.
Right.
So that was sort of the same two things. But
So how did you find opportunity here?
I came here and I had a granite countertop business. And when I came, I just realized that they were raping people with granite countertops. And I just
geez.
thought, geez, I could come up here and make a killing and do it for half the price. So, and that's always been my thing is I just sort of look at them, I'm sort of justice orientated, but then there was opportunities there too.
So did you have a background in this, or did you
Granite?
just granite? Yeah.
Oh yeah, when I in 2018.
Like, I mean, Bible smuggling to granite
granite,
tops is
well-
very different things.
Well, I didn't just do Bible smuggling. We did orphanages and street kids and all
Okay.
kinds of different things like that. So, but no, in 2018, I moved back because my dad passed, and I was there to help my mom. And I was working in a company that in South Carolina where we did stone, we did granite, we did rock walls, waterfalls, all kind of different stuff. So I learned a ton about that. So I understood granite very well, and still do actually.
Sure. Still got that as a side hustle?
No. As we all know, workers in Minot's not the easiest thing to find. So, but I still have my equipment in granite, so I still have the ability to do stuff for myself.
Okay. So still craft projects.
Yes.
So
of course.
at some point then you've taken your years of work and skill, you must have developed a little bit of a savings. How did you come about Arny's? Where does Arny's come into the picture for you?
That's a good question. I would never have gone into Arny's, to be
No,
honest with you. When I first came to Minot, the only places I went to were Off the Vine, 10 North Main, and maybe Ebenezer's with friends. Because, you look over at Arny's, it's dark and scary, and it's like, what is over there and stuff. So I sort of fell into a liquor license, and
As one does.
yes.
Yeah. I mean, I saw a guy tripping over one on the way in here.
Yeah, it was
So-
interesting. But originally I was just going to flip it for a profit. But then I like hospitality. I like entertainment. I like people, most people, some people. And I thought, well, let's just give it a try. And then they had sold their liquor license to Broadway Liquors. And I went in just to look and see if there was any equipment that I could use from them,
Arny's,
to buy and stuff. But then when I went in there, they offered me a deal, and I was like, I looked at it, and I'm like, well, it's got potential, and I don't mind working. So it took a lot of, for the first month, they closed in June, and we opened in July, and that whole month, all we did was clean.
Cue the music and the 1987 fixer-up montage, right?
Yeah. And I had no idea what I was getting into, and like most things in my life. So the first year was very entertaining, to say the least. It was a lot of saying you can't be in here anymore like that and stuff like that.
Well,
But,
let's back up just a second, Melissa. So you buy the building, you have to clean it up. Most of us, if you've been here a long time, and this is not a knock on people who were long-time chair sitters that hung out at Arny's. Arny's was a pit. It was the diviest of dive bars, and I would wager there are probably a lot of people who regularly attend Startup Minot who never would have found themselves at Arny's at any point in time, myself included, up until the point of your remodel into what it's become now. So that's a really big deal. It does take vision, So I just want to pull back a little bit. You had to start by cleaning it up. But what was your plan? Did you have a business plan? What were the hangups in the beginning? Where did how did you fund this? Did you have to talk to a lender? Did you already have this? So the business aspects of it, I would just like to hear about the development of that.
Okay,
A lot of funny stories with it too, but.
Right. Well, going backwards, I'm just starting to learn the business aspect of business. I'm not that savvy. I'm just a hard worker. I did my own money. I borrowed about $30,000, and that's all I borrowed. And from there, we worked the place and brought it to where it's at. So now I'm looking to expand, and there's where the business part of, the Small Business Development Center and different things that come in and help with the different things. So I'm my own boss. I don't have partners. I don't have different ones. So everything that we've done sort of the hard way, I think, to be honest with you, where I've just gone through the 10,000 SBC thing with Goldman Sachs, and I learned a whole lot. I learned a lot about business and different things.
So when you came in, necessarily, you were just a person with a hard work ethic,
yes,
with money, and who thought
little money.
Sure, a little money,
a
sure.
little money.
And you thought to yourself, gosh, maybe it would be kind of cool to own a bar. I mean, did you see? Did you see the income potential? Like
yes,
what really
I think I saw the
into
income
that?
potential, but I guess I just saw the potential of just turning it around, and look,
Like you said, you wanted to flip it and make a few bucks.
well,
You thought you might do that.
at first we just took it on for a year just to see what it would do, and we had a year lease with option to buy. And so,
okay.
so the first year was just, let's see what we can do. And so,
then you decided to buy.
and then after that, we did the option to buy. And so, yeah, I did go into it thinking that, yeah, you can make money off of it. I mean, that's what we do in business. We want to make money, at the end of the day.
You weren't trying to go backwards.
No, unfortunately, that would not be good. But no, I came into it just thinking that, yeah, you could build it up and turn it around and make money off of it.
Little elbow grease, little cleanup.
A little lipstick on a pig. But no, it was, yeah, I mean.
Now, in the beginning, staffing, as you said, if you didn't have this massive background, did you hire a business manager, someone to run your books? How did you hire, and how did you trust people?
You don't.
Right.
I mean, honestly, you don't. I did everything myself as an entrepreneur and with no money. I did everything myself. I did my books. I actually worked the business. When we first opened, Arny's was opening at 8 o'clock in the morning and closing at 1 o'clock at night. And so for some of those days, I would work.
Did you maintain the 8 a.m.?
No, after 6 months, I said, forget this. We're opening at this time, from this time. And luckily, I was blessed with a couple of really good people at the very beginning to help me, bartenders and stuff. And so, and one of them still with me, up to today. And yeah, a lot of it, I think a lot of it is just being, and I'm learning what being an entrepreneur means. I didn't realize I really was an entrepreneur. But
what does it mean to you now compared
what does it mean to me now?
What did you think it meant? What do you know?
Well, I've always felt like if you work hard enough, if you work at something, it's time, determination, and a lot of hard work at the end of the day. And if you work hard enough, things will happen. I'm the kind of person, when if you tell me I can't do it, I'll show you I can do it. But, or it can be done, because stuff can be done. It's just a matter of how tenacious you are, or how persistent you are, or how much you believe in it at the end of the day. So, yeah. I don't know if I answered your question or not.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's the journey of an entrepreneur. Did you know you were an entrepreneur when you first started? Did you realize, like, I'm going to be? Did you have this, like, light bulb moment where you said, well, I'm going to be an entrepreneur now?
No.
When did you realize you had become an entrepreneur?
When the Goldman Sachs people told me I was an entrepreneur.
So it took a while.
Yeah, about 57 years.
I think it's there's been an interesting aspect about entrepreneurship that for some people you say, well, I'm an entrepreneur, and they say, well, they think, well, so you don't make any money. And I guess there are phases. I was an entrepreneur who didn't make any money. I was that. Now I'm an entrepreneur who does make money. Like that changes. And I think it's weird that growth that you experience.
I think you go from entrepreneur to leadership, to community leadership. I think that's what it's all about. Entrepreneurship is, I think that a lot of times nowadays, entrepreneurship thinks that they need to be handed everything. And I think that's an issue. I think that's a problem. I think that true entrepreneurs are people that believe in what they're doing and get it done. And they research, the banks, the developments and different stuff. But it's not always handing people stuff and to make it happen, because a lot of times there's no value in that. I mean, I look at, we're in Malaysia where I have a house. You got the Malay people, the Chinese people, and the Indian people. Well, the Malay people are handed everything. They're given college, they're given this, they're given that. And the Chinese and the Indian are always having to fight for that. And there's a wealth distribution in there and stuff that has happened years ago. I think it was 40 years ago, the wealth distribution was redeveloped because Chinese had all the wealth, basically. So they redistributed the wealth. You know what? The Chinese have all the wealth again today. Why? Because they work hard and they are entrepreneurs. They believe in working hard and developing.
Certainly, yeah. If there's a place I can sign up as an entrepreneur and just be handed success, tell me, please. I'll
Seriously,
go there.
seriously.
I've been handed lots of great advice and plenty of inspiration and things like that. There's certainly support, but I can't say as I've been handed much personally as an entrepreneur.
And most true entrepreneurs aren't, because they realize what it takes to make things happen.
Yeah, I mean, there's a pretty obvious footprint in many of the stratospherically successful businesses are founder-led. So whether it's Arny's 2.0 or it's something that anybody's done, the most, like him or not, Elon Musk, SpaceX, Facebook, Meta, Bill Gates, these are all founder-led organizations, and so it is pretty key. So, right, if you are an entrepreneur and you are looking for success, just know when they say boots on the ground, it means your boots, and it means you're the one pushing, and it's got to be your dream, and you got to believe in it.
Yeah,
and you do got to work hard for it. It's so simple. My favorite band just had to put a documentary out on Netflix called Becoming Led Zeppelin, and I will just share this very briefly. These are 4 very simple guys, and they all had a very similar message. We worked hard, we didn't turn down work. I always said yes. Like Jimmy Page, the guitarist, they had to take his guitar away from him when he got to school. That's how hard he worked at playing guitar to become what he is. And his closing message at the end of the documentary, spoiler alert, he just said, look, if you feel like there's something different in you, you're probably right, and you work at it, and you work at it, and you work at it, and you believe in yourself, and then your dream comes true, and it's really as simple as that.
I think that's what entrepreneurship is. I think that there's more that you can do. There's always more that you can do. You're always looking ahead. There's always something better or to work towards. And I think that's, and we're all put here for a reason and purpose. We're not just here to make money, and we all should have a purpose in our life that we're driving towards different things.
Certainly. Well, so let's drill down on that decision then to buy Arny's, and you make that choice. It becomes Arny's 2.0. Things seem vastly improved. Then at some point you mentioned the Goldman Sachs thing a few times here.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what that was? And
it was a unique opportunity that I think the EDC brought or published, I'm not sure. And it was just a unique opportunity for a business course. And it just basically took you through starting a business to making yourself bankable and everything that goes in between that. And it was just a really good, for me, it was really good knowledge. I know some stuff, but I realized I didn't know a lot. And so that helped me. And it was a free, and I don't know if they'll do it again next year or not, but it was really useful. And I think people that are in business, you keep educating yourself. That's very necessary, especially today, in today's society, because we got so many moving parts and so many different things that are going so quick and so fast. And, I'm a little bit older, so it's harder for me to catch up with some of these things. But yeah, it was almost a business course. I think it was like 12 weeks.
I want to point out that's a really wise statement, the ongoing education. You look at it again, anybody, whether you're in sports or whatever you're in, there's that ongoing practice. You're continuing to hone your craft. That's ongoing education with anything. And so I think some people get to a point and they think, well, it's going. I've got it figured out. I don't need to do anything else. How far into your business life in Arny's was it that you finally took that course? So you had already
just finished it in May.
So quite a few years then.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you were
8 years into it.
By all measurements, still managing a successful business for 8 years and decided to take this course, and sounds like it was still eye-opening even for you 8 years later.
Yeah, it was.
So that's, do you wish you had something like that in the beginning?
I wish I had had that, yes. Yeah, because if I had had that in the beginning and the knowledge that they handed to us and just the resources that they handed to us, I would be a lot further down the road, I feel. And so that is where I think Startup Minot and different things can help entrepreneurs get further down the road a lot quicker than us older people that have done it a little bit more of the hard way. That you can give them the resources, you can give them the education, you can steer them towards different things that will make them more successful.
Look, trust me when I tell you, you don't have to be an older people to do it the hard way. Okay, like you guys don't have lockdown on that. All right?
Oh, okay, well,
plenty of us middle-aged and young folks love to do it the hard way as well. Trust me.
we're just hard-headed.
I love that you pointed that out again. Not only because you weren't too proud to still learn, but the importance of there is access in Minot to programs like this right now for people who are starting as Melissa did, and you are looking at an 8-year business owner, somebody who a lot of people would look at as being very successful, on the verge of opening a second business, is sitting here saying, "Man, I wish I would have taken this at the beginning." Yeah. So if you are somebody with an idea, if you know somebody with an idea, if you know somebody who's been trying to get into business and can't find their way, push them into a class, push them into a course. Because I, like you, started very similarly. I want to do this. I've got an idea. I didn't even know how to produce a podcast when I started podcasting. I just bought the equipment and started watching videos and doing research.
Yeah.
It would be a long time before that turned any revenue for me. So having a better sense of how to direct that process would be great for anybody. So I think that's a key piece of wisdom that you've shared with us here. So that's pretty awesome. Arny's, can you talk about aspects along your journey that as a business owner that were key in pushing you forward? You decided after a year to buy it, and you thought maybe you'd flip it, but you kept it. You stuck with it. What was keeping you there? What were you going through as a business owner during these times?
I think a lot of it is the community. You meet people, you fall in love with your clientele, you see the differences that you can make in the community. And I think that's a lot of it, is that...
Can you give me an example?
Well, I always say my biggest accomplishment at Arny's is that there will be a group of ladies come in by themselves and sit and drink. And, 8 years ago, you would never see Kelly or Robbie or any, or different people in Arny's, having a drink or just sitting and talking and stuff. So I say that's probably one of my biggest accomplishments, is now that we've got ladies that'll come in and, just sit down and have a drink and feel comfortable and not be harassed and different stuff. But I don't know. I mean, ask me another question. I just lost it. But
no, that's okay. Was there any point in time where you thought about selling it? Was there key struggle moments? What did you have to overcome, or was it just smooth sailing aside from hiring staff?
Oh Lord, no, it's never smooth sailing. I wish it was. There's struggles. I mean, during COVID, that was hard hitting because we were closed for 3 months, and luckily I'm a saver. And I was able to, there was money that came in to help pay bills and stuff like that. I mean, business stopped, but the electricity didn't stop, the mortgage didn't stop, the gas didn't stop, and different things like that. So that was a struggle. I think it's been for a lot of places, restaurants in the industry that we're in. After COVID, it still is only, I feel like now, finally getting back to some kind of normalcy. And I think that was probably one of the biggest struggles, is just seeing, something that we were set to be our best year that year. Sure. We had done, because you measure, months and years and, times. January is always a bad month because everybody's spent all their money at Christmas. They got sticker shock. They're all not drinking in January, and then they're all doing this health kick in January. So by mid-January, we're back to normal. But 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 yeah, we were set to do our best year because January was just a phenomenal January for us. I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be a good year. And then by March 19th, we were shut down, and I'm like, oh, what the heck? But that was hard. I think I've been lucky with staff, I have to be honest. I've been very blessed with staff. I mean, we're small, so we don't need tons of staff. I mean, I got 13 people right now in a small little.
Seems like a lot. Yeah.
It is a lot. Actually. What am I doing? But we've had good staff and stuff, and I've always had decent staff, so that's not really been an issue. But I know it is an issue. So, and as you look forward to moving on to something different, you're thinking, Minot's not the best place to resource people for staffing.
Oh.
I mean, it's true in my industry.
Sure.
So, because people get disgruntled and stuff, and they hop from place to place to place. But I've not had that, luckily. I've been blessed with that. And
at some point, you decided to add food to the mix at Arny's. Can you talk to us about what brought that idea forward and what were the difficulties in executing that?
I like to cook. If I could cook and give food away free, I would, but that's not possible. So from the very first day, very first time we opened, I said, I'm bringing food in here. I said, because I think it would have fun to have food in here. And I don't feel like Minot has a lot of variety in food. So, and living in Southeast Asia, I have a lot of flavors that I enjoy that are not in Minot. So yeah, it's just me enjoying food, enjoying cooking. I love to get people to try something different because part of my job in Southeast Asia was hosting groups of people and carting them all the way around Asia. And they were always
hospitality, as you
yeah,
mentioned,
hospitality. So I understood hospitality from a more extreme end than people in the hospitality business did, because I would greet people at the airport. I would book their hotels. I would book their travel. I would feed them, for 2 weeks, a week or 2 week period, and took care of them. If they couldn't get towels in their hotel room, I was finding towels for their hotel room or something. So I understood hospitality, and that's where that came in. But no, the food part, I just enjoyed.
Was there already a kitchen in Arny's?
No. So we've saved money.
So you knew you wanted to do this and had to plan for it.
Yes,
and save
plan
for it.
and save
what
for
was approximately what was that investment going to be?
It ended up close to $100,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
To add a kitchen into there. Sure. Oh. Mm-hmm. Menu planning. Who planned? Was that all you? Did you collaborate with people on that? How did you decide what kind of menu?
How did we do this? We had taste testings. I would come up with ideas, and then I would have my friends over and say, "What do you think about this?" And they're brutally honest, so which I'm grateful for. But yeah, we're dropping a new menu, so we've been dealing with that, and that's
Well, and that just adds a whole new layer to the business, of course, because you have to.
it's a whole new revenue stream.
Yeah, whole new revenue stream and whole new costs, right?
Yeah.
When you're planning your menu out, you've got to know, well, what does this cost me? What is the labor going to cost me? Did you have a plan for that? Did you have a proper method of calculating these things?
Yes, we calculate it down to the ounce.
Yeah.
So we calculate how
It's pretty detailed.
It's extremely detailed, and you can lose. Restaurants have a very thin margin as for profit margin, and you can either make money or you can lose money. And same with bars, you can make money or lose money, and a lot of it is just how you regulate it. At the end of the day. So yeah, we've this last menu, we're still working on the prices and stuff.
What's been the best food idea, worst food idea for your menu?
For my menu, the faux fries is the best.
Faux fries is the best. I'm seeing some head nods out there, some folks that have tried the faux fries.
And they call them faux, but it should be pho. The pho fries. They're actually Vietnamese inspired fries because they have hoisin and a garlic aioli and stuff on it. That's the best. The worst. Well, there's, in my opinion, but other people would say no. So, but I don't think I have a worse one. There's things that aren't selling as much, so we're taking them off the menu and adding some new stuff. Again, I like to cook, so I'm trying to do some more adventurous things. And so we'll see. The new menu is pretty outrageous.
Specific game plan when it comes to I'm going to change my menu every X number of months, or
I am working towards that, and again, that's education. A lot of that is education and learning. You know, I watch a lot of Food Network, Bar Rescue, things like that. I love Gordon Ramsay, but yeah, a lot of it's just learning and planning and trying to do stuff seasonally. We're launching sort of a spring, summer menu that people want to eat a little bit lighter, a little bit more fresh. And then winter times, it's a little bit more hearty, more comforting food and stuff like that. So
that makes sense. I see you've added, of course, brunch.
Yes,
service.
We've added brunch, and we're actually going to start opening for lunch.
Okay.
So we're, brunch is fun. Brunch is really fun.
Brunch is always really fun.
So,
I've never had a boring brunch.
No, you can't really have boring brunch when you have champagne.
If you've had a boring brunch, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, you're doing it very wrong. So.
Well, we have to discuss the new idea that's coming up here before we wrap this up, Melissa. As I mentioned in your introduction, sounds like you're investing in a new building, a mixed-use building. Talk to us about this.
I have to tell you, as things do, that concept has changed. So from what you've said, the concept has changed. I've been purchasing this building now for about 4 or 5 years, and so we've gutted it. And so,
can you say which?
Yeah,
building
it's 212.
Okay.
Central 212.
Okay.
So it's actually physically connects.
It's it's the old Harmony Center.
Yeah, it actually physically connects to Arny's,
right. Yeah.
which is
you got
which is
Val's
nice.
on the corner, and then the Harmony Center.
And all these buildings, they connect. So
I spent a lot of time at the Harmony Center growing up with my grandma.
Okay, so
I don't know if you knew what that was, or
I did. I do know what it was.
Okay,
yeah,
I think it's maybe before your time here.
No, it was still the Harmony
Was
Center.
it there? Okay,
Yeah. But we've had this building for about 4 years now, and so we're starting to. I've had a lot of ideas. That's my biggest problem as an entrepreneur is ideas. You've got that people have to rein me in. My friends know me very well. They have to, come back down to earth. So I think we've come up with a concept that's going to actually change Arny's a little bit and change the whole concept a little bit.
Can you share any
I
tidbits
don't
of what
want
that is?
to share, no.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
I do not, because I want to be a surprise, but I think it'll be a very fun thing for downtown.
All right, I'll be looking forward to that. Well, let's see if anybody in the audience has a question for Melissa. And if not, we can get back to coffee and donuts and mingling.
So, first of all, did you win the fight that Jonah witnessed? Or were you not?
Oh, I wasn't there when that.
Okay.
It wasn't me. I have won a few fights there though.
Second, the idea of smuggling anything comes with obvious connotation that you're taking a risk. The risk of getting caught would have been what for you smuggling Bibles? Would you have been jailed, or would you have risked your life?
I have been arrested multiple times. I've been detained. They shut down a whole hotel one time in Shanghai for us. I've been blacklisted in Vietnam and China and still obtained visas and went in. So, yeah.
So taking an entrepreneurship, taking a risk in starting a business, didn't seem as risky.
It did for me. Yeah, and I think that's the thing is, I've had a fantastic life. If I go back and look, I've sort of lived life backwards. So yeah, it didn't seem, and I'm a risk taker. I mean, I am a risk taker, and I think you have to be a little bit of a risk taker to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're not going to go anywhere. If you don't take risk, you're not going anywhere. But yeah, I'm a little bit of a risk taker. Maybe too much of a risk taker. I've failed a few times too. So, and that's part of being an entrepreneur is sometimes it don't work out, and you just pick yourself up and, all right, what's next? So.
Yeah, I can relate to that. Anybody else with a question for Melissa this morning?
Well, it's good. Melissa, just to your last comment, can you talk about maybe any of the mental health aspects or any of the friendship aspects or some of the things that help work you through those failures, help you be able to make that jump to the next success or the next opportunity?
Well, sometimes you fail and it's not your fault. And so, when things don't go as planned, you tend to put it on yourself, even though it's not really, that was beyond your control. And I think your friends help you a lot with that, and they can see where you're at and what you've gone through, and they understand. So friendship is very important, and having people close to you. I think something that lacks in the community as leaders, as business leaders, is a camaraderie that you could talk through your failures, talk through your struggles, and not feel judged, not feel that that's going to go, Minot's small. We've not done a lot of advertising. Minot's very small, so it's word of mouth. And we know that word of mouth goes good one way and bad the other way. So, yeah, I mean, mental health is a lot of it, because you got to have to be an entrepreneur, you're going to have a strong mentality. And, to do anything in the public, you're going to have a strong mentality and strong thick skin, because at the end of the day, people unfortunately, are not friendly towards success. When people are succeeding, they tend to tear them down, and I don't understand that. And, where they should be building them up. And I struggle with that, and I think it's wrong. And so, yeah.
I would just ask, I guess, on one final note, Melissa, so that maybe you could share with other aspiring entrepreneurs, what resources have you identified that have been helpful? What final bits of advice would you give to somebody starting up? I know you said you found a little bit late some of these things, but better late than never. Are there these things that you've identified that have been really helpful to you as a business owner that you'd like to recommend?
Yeah, the Small Business Development Center, SBA, get to know a banker, get to know your banker, let your banker see your face and let them grow with you, so they see you and what you're doing and how you're growing. Yeah, I mean, just research there's so much in North Dakota. North Dakota is loaded with opportunities, and they're just begging people to come and open a business. And there's so much resources out there that I don't think are really in other places. That North Dakota, Bank of North Dakota, you got all these different things that are resources. I mean, yeah.
So reach out, you say.
Reach out, look, come to places like Startup Minot, do different things that if you're really interested, you'll find what you're looking for, because it's there. You just got to research it, and you got to want it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Melissa Wright. Thank you for joining us at Startup Minot. Remember, we are the second Thursday of every month. Please do bring a friend, be a friend, tell a friend. We will see you guys next month. Thank you.